All right. Hey, there we go. Okay. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Well, not happy for everybody. Um, yeah, not happy for everybody. Welcome to my stream. Uh, we'll talk a bit more about why somebody's not having a good Friday in a few minutes. But so yeah, this is my stream. Just want to thank you all for coming today. Uh, you know, I I've been actually I'll show you here in a second, but I've been rearranging my desk for about hey, it's Beta Wolf. Hey Beta Wolf, what's up? Um how have you been today? Beta. Just wanted to see how you doing. That was not what I wanted to do. Crap. I'm still forever futzing with my chat and audio and stuff. I'm trying to reorganize my OBS so that everything is in its place and everything is in place, meaningful and mindful place. So there we go. Okay. Let me see. Oh, Kimisek, of course. Thank you again for being subscribed to a tier. Beta Wolf says it's Friday night. You're going to be a multi-cloud Chad, as the people say. I don't know what that is. I, I, yeah. Hello, fellow kids. Yeah. I feel like that sometimes, especially with some of the stuff that I do recently, and some of the things I've been doing recently. Yeah. So I have been futzing around with setup and everything. I'm on like version 17 or 18 of my desk setup with my system here. What you don't see is my GoPro that's running. I've got a nice 2-camera setup now so that I can show you what the setup looks like. You can see what's going on here with my desk, and I've got my second laptop here, and doing a bunch of cool shit. That way you can see what's going on. There's me. Got that profile with that god awful beard and stuff. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, I've been looking at numerous setups of how really successful, I guess, how streamers do it. I don't know if they're successful or not, but just do you have a sit and stand desk? So just to show you, not to get too messy here, it is a standing desk. It's an adapter kind of thing. It will set it up about 3 foot higher. I actually have an existing desk that goes with it. This is the cleanest part of my office, which you can't see because I've been rearranging a bunch of shit. But yeah, it'll go up about 3 foot. Once I move to my new home in San Diego, I'll probably get a proper standing desk that is adjustable as well, that I'll be able to futz around with. So, but yeah, I want one because it's got a nice open area here. I have my work computer shut off, of course, but I've been working to try to optimize my space, make it so it's a little more friendly for streaming, a little more user friendly. I actually started using the second monitor you saw up here on the right, which is also the work monitor. I don't need a chair, Beta, if I could be honest. I have my chef's mat. As you can see, it's fairly worn. It's got some spots on it. I'm gonna have to replace it. Um, I've been standing for about 3 years now, and I thought, oh, I'm a freaking hipster by doing so. But um, I found that if I sat in a really comfortable chair, I would tend to not want to get out of said chair. And especially when I worked at like CrowdStrike and when I was working here at home on the same desk that you saw here, I would sit all day. I wouldn't do anything. Yeah, Rob. I actually like the mats. I actually wish this one was a little bit thicker, but not too bad. Um, yeah, I actually found that I sat too much, and that was a little too much for me, and that's probably contributed to my 60 pounds of weight gain before I decided I need to do something different. So, started using a stand up desk for a while. There, it was like every 15 30 minutes was a pain in the ass, but then it's like I can stand here all day and not have any issues. It's just you just got to keep moving, got to move your legs and stuff. So it's an endurance thing. You can't go from 0 to 8 hours a day standing up. I mean, I sit down in the evenings. I have a nice fluffy ass chair in there, but the minute I do that, it's like and I'm sleeping. So you do you. I haven't gone full hipster yet. We actually know somebody who has like a treadmill or something. But if I'm going to walk, I might as well do it where I'm you know able to get away from my desk. Like at noontime or whatever. I set aside time for me. So I block off from noon to 1 so that I don't have any meetings happening during that time. Let me get my chat up proper here. So, yeah, I mean, if I didn't have meetings that I myself was running, I would probably take more meetings on the phone as I'm walking or something like that. So I don't need this anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and move my GoPro out of the way here. There we go, and turn it off. Ideally, I had set up. There you go. Shut off, you bastard. I had originally set up like a multi-camera kind of setup for when I was playing games or something. I actually have a cool game that let me go to my browser. Okay, where's the Edge browser? Okay, so there it is. Something I'm having to figure out why the browser is doing this, but anytime I have to pull up a new browser window, the window settings get all janky. So I'm not sure why all of a sudden it's at 4K again. I had it all nice and sized up properly earlier. So, so I have a game that I have called Shards of Infinity, which is a solo game, but it's more of a cooperative type game. And then I got this one. Oh crap! What is the name of it? Anyway, it's a cooperative deck building game that I thought about maybe playing. It has a board and everything, kind of like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering, but it's in a sci-fi setting. So maybe we could try that in the future. But so back to people who are not having a good Friday. Oh wait, what's this? Same studying for Terraform cert. Huh. Terraform cert, hoping to burn out the studying process over the weekend and get the cert for the next weekend. So Beta, that okay. So that's a question about training, which I have something as well. What are you hoping to get out of that certification? Are you just getting the cert to say, "Hey, I'm Terraform certified," or certification? My worry is that getting certs are great, but if you have no practical knowledge on that, will they ask you a question and be like, "Oh, I just got this cert last week. I don't know anything about Terraform," or do you actually have Terraform experience that you can use to potentially turn that into a position or a job? Okay, all right. No, that's cool. I mean, there are definitely a need to get certs of some things. My worry is often when people get certs, they interview and they go, "Well, I'm certified in Terraform or whatever," and then somebody's like, "Oh, so am I." Blah 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 blah, and you're like, "Oh, well, look, I haven't done shit on that. I don't know, because I've been doing DevSecOps on Azure for the last 5 years, security stuff." Oh, okay. No, that's fair. I'm just trying to figure out what you're hoping to get out of that. I myself am eyeing a post InfoSec career, doing something other than security. So Harvard Business School Online has these certificate programs, which I was talking to somebody who's doing an MBA program. They're starting an MBA program at University of Washington, Seattle up here. It's a 9-month like MBA yeah, exactly, Rob, post InfoSec career. And I was just trying to figure out what I'm going to do, but I was going to get I was looking to get an MBA, but I don't know if that's actually worth getting, especially not from a place like Harvard. But they have these certification programs, various things like leadership principles, management essentials, org leadership, negotiation mastery. I'm not tall enough to join the NBA, Rob. This would be an MBA, as in Mike Beta Alpha. to use the phonetic alphabet. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm only 6 foot tall. I would be like, the shortest person on the team. So they have these classes. They're 8 weeks long. This one I started for organizational leadership. I'm going to be looking at starts on around the mid October region. Hey, Digital Warhead, what's up? How you doing? And so you do 3 of these 6, and you get they call them a certificate of specialization in leadership and management. And my wife, the good Dr. Break, turned these on to me, and I was trying to understand, as long as you do 3 of these within 18 months, you get this. In some ways, it's not an MBA, but it is a little cheaper than say a SANS course. Like if I took a Management 514 course from SANS, it's like $8,000 for a week-long course. This is, ideally some of it is, hey, you're at Harvard Business School, but other ones it's like a certification for these, and plus I can use these for some of my CISSP credits, and you can, it gets you that much further down the line. Now, if I've spent $5,000 and it's not worth the paper it's written on, that's fine. I've learned a lesson, but I'm not spending $60,000 on a master's or something like that. So, Beta Wolf, it's nice. To be honest, this is not new. I took a very similar course for my IT degree, my bachelor's in IT from University of Phoenix back in 2006. From 2005 to 2008. But there's different. Oh, see, there's a final exam. Okay. Yeah. Is what it is. So great. 3-hour multiple choice, computer-based assessment created by HBS faculty and administered online. Oh God, please tell me it's not like Pearson VUE or some shit. Okay, so exam logistics. Okay, yeah, I knew that we were going to be taking some exams and stuff like that. So, but this isn't bad, and it's cheap enough. I think that many companies would be, more likely to send you to a course that's $1,700 that you can do independently, versus a week-long course where you're going to end up having to take that time off. 6 to 8 hours a week isn't too bad. And, to be fair, I can teach y'all some of what I've learned here, but I'm taking the org leadership course, starting, and some of the lecturers they have are, distinguished education managers, but they also have like interviews with Fortune 500 company people in various courses. Like, so it's pretty cool. I'll be doing those, but it might be easier to justify these if your company is doing, reimbursement. So I'll take one of the courses. It'll be done in say December, and then I'll have a better idea of whether or not I want to take 2 more of those courses and see what's up. So, Stanford, I think, also does similar courses like this. Stanford. It's not Stanford, it's Stanford. There you go. Stanford University online. Yeah, free online. They do free online courses. I think they probably also do. They do stuff like machine learning, fundamentals of computers, Bayesian statistics, introduction to probability for CS folk, CRISPR CS. Wow. Okay. Wow. Autonomous Systems Graduate Program. Oh, there you go. So they have a number of different courses all available. If you are interested in taking any of those, look like they're all free. So I'm trying to find out and trying to visualize what a post-InfoSec career might look like. And I'm not saying I'll get rid of the podcast and all that stuff, but if my main job is security, and my main job has been security for 20 years, and if Rob says I like the courses that are actually led in real time rather than just VODs. The way I understand, like the way the Harvard Business ones are, is there's going to be a video like assignment where you watch the video, and then there's going to be like when I did it at University of Phoenix, it was actually a news group, so I actually had to have a news group reader. I don't have the network digital warhead, and starting consulting be a little rough. Not sure what I would consult on, to be honest, digital. Um, I'm not a manager. I wouldn't call myself a very good security person. I mean, it is a possibility, but I mean, what would I be doing? Pen testing, security architecture. You know, I it's funny, digital. I have thought about this. There's a startup group meetup in San Diego, and the first thing I thought of was startups don't do security. They don't give a shit about security. So I actually know a long ago kind of connection. I have been a consultant PM, but I have not been a consultant, Rob. So I actually know the person running the entrepreneurial startup meetup thing in San Diego. When I was in the Navy, he was a commander of mine. And so I have signed up for the meetups. I have yet to actually go because it's like I don't know what I could offer them yet. But yeah, the thought was CPO. Hey, welcome. If you're part of the solution, there is money to be made in consulting about the problem. Yeah, but that's dangerous talking there, CPO Parker, because it could be. Um, it, I mean, some of them PR companies, they reach out to you and go, hey, Uber got hacked. Here's how our product will, save you or something. But yeah, I thought about reaching out to him and saying, hey, offering up my services like a consulted kind of person on, upcoming VC startups or entrepreneurial things in the San Diego area. There seems to be no shortage of startups in the San Diego area that are happening. So, thought I might network in that way, which is one reason I'm heading down to B-side San Diego in October. But yeah, so yeah, this is one of the courses I'll be taking. I thought about also management essentials. I talked with my manager just before I got on the call today, and I was like, I don't know how much this will translate to our organization, but it'll be good, if it doesn't work in the future. And I told him, I was like, I'm going to take this course regardless if the company decides they want to pay for it or not, because I have never been one to say, well, like I'll take this training if my company pays for it, because if they don't and you never take it, then you've only hurt yourself. So it's one thing. Even the SANS courses that I took, it was like I told my boss I was taking this course, and I said, if y'all reimbursed me, fine. If not, maybe that's a reason for me to start looking for another job. And that was really uncomfortable conversation, but in the end, they actually did pay for a good portion of that training. So, but yeah. So yeah, I'm going to take these. Three of them is going to be roughly $5,200, $5,300, which isn't bad for three courses. And if I do well enough, I'll have a nice certificate from Harvard Business School, which sometimes that's all employers are looking at in that regard. So yeah, so looks like they do organizations, so corporate learning or what have you. So anyway, that's what I'm going to taking. I can, I'll put these up here. They also have other stuff, business analytics, which is something I also thought about doing. Let me see what else. Financial accounting. They do entrepreneurship and innovation, so disruptive strategies. Design thinking and innovation might be helpful if you're, doing design architecture. There you go. Check those out if you are interested. They didn't pay me to do this, but it's just another option for folks if they're looking to move beyond security or to get into something that isn't necessarily security. So, business and society. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff there. So, not to harp on that too much, but not every bit of training has to be on security. So there you go. Digital, what is, would you say you would start small and work your way up from there? Hold on one sec. Agree. Definitely mix them. I like in real time. The person is active talking with the cohort. Yeah, the like I said, the when I said with University of Phoenix at the time, it was like they actually had a news server, so it was like NNTP stuff. No, not NN. Yeah, NNTP. And you'd use like Thunderbird or something and download the messages, and you'd write something of substance, and then you would submit it up or what have you. I'm assuming this is going to be something similar. Maybe we'll use Slack or I don't, probably not Discord. They did mention Salesforce, so God knows we'll probably be using some fucking Salesforce app or something like that. But yeah, so person having the bad day would be the person who hacked Uber, or at least somebody that the UK government and MI5 or MI6 believe or the UK police believe hacked Uber. Lady Parabellum, or YTT as formerly known as. Actually, it was Lady P that told me about this while I was sitting in my car. City of London arrested a 17-year-old teen suspected of being involved in the recent cyber attacks. So, those of you who've been under a rock this week, Uber got owned within about 24 hours after we posted our podcast. It was found out that Rockstar Games was hit, and I think we talked about it on Tuesday. Some video got stolen and some potential source for the GTA related games, Grand Theft Auto, including some promotional videos of the actual gameplay. And City of London said, hey, they arrested a 17-year-old in Oxfordshire on suspicion of hacking as part of an investigation supported by a National Cybercrime Unit. Uber had mentioned, and I believe I mentioned this on Tuesday, that they were hit by the Lapsus group, which hit all the other groups. And my point was, so you still got hacked. It doesn't matter who hacked you. Deal with it. Why you wonder why it was the City of London police? That's a good question, Rob. You would think jurisdictionally it would be more like a federal crime. It may be they may have been working with the FBI or other law enforcement agencies, but maybe it was up. We want the local folks to get access to make the arrest. They said Bleeping Computer did reach out to the FBI. But no response was given. They say the researchers believe, I don't know who the researchers are, but they say that security researchers believe that the arrest was tied to Lapsus. They did arrest 7 people, including the alleged 17-year-old in April. So they arrested the person who hacked Uber, who's the 17-year-old, but they also arrested the same 17-year-old in April for doing the same thing. So I'm not sure what's going on there. This article doesn't read correctly. And then they released the 2 boys on bail as they were minors. So it sounds like the 17-year-old was arrested in April, and either while was on bail or otherwise, then hacked Uber and the Rockstar Games folks. That's how I'm reading it. I could be wrong. So yeah, the hacker known as Teapots gained access to the Slack server, and of course then began bragging about it in the Slack server and elsewhere. I believe they said the owner of the breached hacking forum. So there was a hacking forum as well called Breached that was the first to claim that this person named White. So Teapot goes under different aliases, obviously. And yeah, so not a good day if you're the 17-year-old. Either that or you didn't learn your lesson the first time when you got arrested in April. So they won't release their name because of obviously privacy laws. Criminals still have rights in the UK and EU. So yeah, other tactics, MFA fatigue attacks. I think we talked a little bit about this on Sunday with Mr. Betcher about MFA fatigue and yeah. Rob, I would say that if they actually were, if the U.S. pressed for it, or if Uber pressed for the person to be, yes, I understand, Lady P, the guilty or innocent until proven guilty. Uh, I would say this person has really poor OPSEC, so they've got quite a bit of information on them. Either they were outed by the people in the hacking group, which it does sound like maybe they were, or the person is just really stupid and did things like left their IP address all over access logs and what have you. So no telling, no telling. But 17-year-old from Oxfordshire is not having a good Friday. So maybe they sit in the pokey all weekend and then get bailed out on Monday. They did state, I want to say it was the Forbes article that Lady P sent me, made $14 million on this. Forbes, Uber hack, Oxfordshire. Let me see, where was it? Yes, yeah. So hacking laws. Remains in custody. City of London police leaked 90 videos. I had read somewhere it was like they had $14 million or something from this hack. So it's not a small amount of money. And this person will get out in a couple years having legitimate street cred and start his own security company, maybe, or something. I don't know. Lady P says, when my company almost lost 1 million credit cards, the feds couldn't care less. But when someone taunts Uber on their Slack, it's an international incident. Well, yeah. I mean, different times, right? Lady P was several. Your credit card, the credit cards getting lost was a few years ago. So I think maybe it was the brazenness of this attack. I mean, the person who attempted to take your credit cards didn't then get on the company's hip chat or whatever the fuck it is y'all are using and saying, lol, I'm all up in your business with I am the hacker, ha ha ha, get bent. That's a different twist to the saga, I think. But yeah, I completely get your point where, it really depends on, I guess, time of day, what's going on in the news, and the size or the amount of data that was taken. Ours left, oh, really? Oh, taunting messages and file folders on the desktop. Okay. Well, the other thing, Lady P, was that screenshots weren't taken and shared on Twitter of people who were completely nonchalant about the hacking, thinking it was a joke. Yeah, I mean, there was some definite clout there where somebody had said, the devs were completely apathetic to what was going on, thought it was a joke, and how do you expect him to get home from Oh God, Digital Warhead. Maybe he calls a Lyft. Maybe he calls Lyft in for a ride home or something. Yeah, I think the next thing we're gonna see are stories about why did Uber get hacked or why did the person do it. If it it seems like the media and normal people don't understand that it's just it's like what was the quote somebody said. We asked him why he climbed that mountain. He said because it was there. So I was like, why did you hack Uber? Well, because it was there. That kind of thing. So yeah. Oh, I don't know. Did we talk about this one? This one was interesting. 15-year-old Python bug. Vulnerability in Python. It's not the Python programming language itself. It's actually the tar file package in Python that has a path transversal bug. One of my coworkers said basically you create a file called dot dot slash 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 etc slash password, and then that file with whatever password hashes you want in it, and then stick it in the tar archive. And when it is untarred by this tar file package, it will overwrite the Etsy pass WD. And this was found in, they said it was the original write-up on this stated, oh my God, there we go. Yeah, it was found in 2001 and they had fixed it. Oh no, it was in tar itself, tar the application. 2001 1267. The halcyon days where 1,000 vulnerabilities was a lot. Now we're up to 10,000, 20, 40, 50,000, 100,000. And they say tar was fixed in 2001, but for some reason, tar file module in Python was not fixed, or it was fixed in 2004, but then there was a regression or something and it got fixed. It didn't get fixed. Technical details for 2007 have been in the initial report since August 2007. Okay, so let me go read this. Okay, yeah, so, okay, the vulnerability basically goes like this. If you tar a file named da, and then make the admin untar it, the password gets overwritten. Another variety of this bug is the symlink one. If a tar contains a file like this, Etsy directory password, then AAAA directory symlink would be created first, and the Etsy password will be overwritten again. This was again in 2007. Jan, I think it's Jan, from Switzerland. CZ? No, not Czechoslovakia. So yeah, this is a vulnerability that's been around for a while, but nobody thought to fix it. And in our moving and shaking way of doing things, a lot of open source repos are using Python tar file for the modules. And, again, this goes to supply chain issues. Everybody's using Python these days. So keeping track of what your company is using, what might be under the hood. I'm just surprised it took so long to actually fix. So, yes, tar file, OS, path, join. 350,000 projects. So they scraped a set of 257 repositories, more likely to include vulnerable code, and manually checked 175 of them to see if they were affected. 61% of them were vulnerable. Okay, so the 350,000 is based on what, 257 times 175. So, or how many ever repositories there were, if they've, so yeah, I mean, they took a sample of 257 and 175 of them were vulnerable. So, with GitHub's help, we were able to get a much larger data set with over 500,000 unique repos that include import tar file and its Python code. 61% vulnerability rate manually verified. So, oh, and American Airlines. Yes, I remembered that there was another one that had got popped, but American Airlines got popped as well, which I'm not surprised by that. Come on, man. There we go. It's just been a bad week for companies in general. That's a beautiful picture, nice promotional picture. Oh, you got hacked. American Airlines notified customers of a recent data breach after they compromised an undisclosed number of employee mail accounts and gained access to sensitive PII. Why? Wait. So the employee email accounts gained access to sensitive personal information. Yes, Lady P. There's something special in the air. Yes. That's rough. That ow. Yeah. I didn't get this notification that they'd been breached. Let's go see what the PDF says. Unauthorized actor compromised email accounts of team members. Upon discovery of the incident, we secured the applicable accounts, engaged third-party forensic team. Personal information involved may have included name, date of birth, mailing address. So it sounds like they were sending PII through email. Sounds about right. Not sure why they would be. Well, I mean, I don't want to say I'm not sure why they would be sending PII through email. It could be any number of reasons why, but it happened. It could be the way they do business, where hey, let me know about this person's information or this airline or what have you. Or they got a spreadsheet sent to them with a bunch of people's information in it, and it just happened to be in someone's box. Hey, digital, okay, be safe driving home, digital. Be careful. Rob says, isn't that against regulations? Only I'm sure that there is I'm sure there is a regulation for it, but again, this comes back to the, how are we moving the needle in this case? Yeah, okay, yes, GDPR is definitely, could be against regulations. Lady P is absolutely correct. Only if you get caught. For every company that gets caught, there's probably hundreds of other companies that are doing the exact same thing or worse. And that's part of the, I don't want to say one of my motivations for a post-InfoSec career, but it's more like, how are we moving the needle? We're still getting breached. I don't know what it is that we're going to do to not solve the problem, because there's no solving a human problem, but what we do matter? Does what we do matter? In the end, we're still going to get breached. We still have to come to work every day like it's, like every day is going to be the day we're going to get breached. There's never any breathing room. I have the answer, but most people aren't going to like it. Is it replacing everybody with robots, Lady P? Because if it is, I'm thinking people aren't going to like that. So, straight up Terminator or something, So anyway, if you're an American Airlines customer and if you got the email, sorry, if you got the email, they actually did say it's a very small number. So it could be that, maybe it was a flight of people, or maybe it was specific types of people, or what. It's money. It gotta cost more to get popped than it does not to get popped. Yes, we did actually bring that up in the a couple times recently. It's like even GDPR, which was supposed to put the fear of God into people, which was a minimum of 20 million plus 4% or 4% of your GDP or whatever, your gross domestic product or whatever it is, your overseas. There was a 4% number in there. The problem is still not enough teeth, right? Or fines. The FTC heads down from the government. It's like, oh, you got fined $100,000, and we're Facebook, and it's like, all right, well, let me see, what's got my pockets, that kind of thing. Exactly, it's nothing for companies though, Rob. You're right. The Target breach was $100 million or something like that for the class action. They say 250 million, but how much did Target make last quarter? Target. Profits in 2022. It made 230 or 321 million in the second quarter of 2022, and the fine was like, I think the class action they're looking at, it's like 150 million. So that's 1/4 of the year's money at most, and it took 7 years to get that to that point. So, with the exception of like 2020, 2021, where they may have had a few down, quarters, they're still going to make money, right? So that's my whole thing about there's no reputation damage outside of however long the next press cycle is. The only wailing and gnashing of teeth I tend to see is InfoSec Twitter, which is, like pissing in the wind anyway. Yeah, Lady P'd be absolutely right there. You have to make them want to suspend from trading. Ooh, wow, suspending from trading. That would be an interesting concept. Exactly, Rob. Stock prices go down for like 5 minutes and then go back up even higher than they were before. So Uber price shares. Oh, so Lady P, we are still a little low right now on Uber's stock. So we thought that it would go back up after this, but still, I mean, it's a pittance as compared to what they were. So I mean, they were lower even before the breach, so they're actually still up from where they were back in July. So Lyft, okay. That's even worse. So, oh boy, Lyft. Boy, what the hell happened to Lyft? Damn. Did they get breached in May? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was something happened here on May 3rd that dropped them. I don't know what that was about. Maybe his price and earnings reports, something like that. But yeah, interesting. So I'm actually surprised to see that Uber's not back on the rebound yet, but they are still higher than they were, what, a year ago? What's year to date? Okay, so they were as high as what, about 45 on January 4th. So then they have not recovered from that yet. It's just been a strict downturn. Yeah, but they're still higher than war. Don't know. I'm not sure, Rob, why they'd be that way. Yeah. So, well, we'll see what happens. We still have about 3 weeks left on the stock price, so we'll see what happens to see what it was like a month ago from there. So, so yeah, if you got hit by American Airlines, go change your passwords. Go sign up for credit monitoring for the next 500 years, and that's true, CPO. Well, I don't know if Uber's never actually made a profit. That's an interesting thought. Uber quarterly profits. Oh, looks like they made some revenue, $8 billion up year. In June they made $8 billion. Cost of revenue 5.7 billion. So that seems like they are PE. Look at their PE. Uber PE. There you go. PE ratio. Their PE ratio is 0. Okay. All right. I take your point. Yeah. Well, CPO between Hollywood and companies, they know how to move their money around to make it look like they've actually won and done something. So, creative accounting is how it makes it look like it's got some turd polish on it. So, let's see, let's close that. Close that. Yeah. Could be some tax avoidance. After you pay all of your executives their golden parachutes and then, settle up the lawsuits from, previous CEOs that, are shitbags, then, that's what you're left with, isn't it? So there we go. All right. So yeah, not to go back to the transversal stuff, but yeah, price. It's PE is PE I always heard the higher it is, the better off you are. So it's computed by dividing price of stock by annual earnings per share, according to Chuck Schwab here. I tend to not worry about PE. I tend to like to buy stock that pays dividends, and then have something reinvest. But oh, right, Lady P, yeah. And according to you, yes. Stock price. How do you do? How do you do? How do you do? So the stock price is set not every day, right? It's the PE is like per quarter or something like that. I mean, you're not really going to go, well, it has a PE of 10 today and 5 tomorrow or something like that, are you? Or do they just take it to the nearest dollar and then call it good? Because if it's earnings per share, then it would be based off of like 4 times a year, right? Every quarter 12 months. Okay. All right. I didn't know that. Okay. Typically 12 calendar months. Okay. So it's once a year. That's better, I guess, then. Of course, it can be misleading if your stock is completely went in the shitter. So your PE rating will be, if it's 11 years and 2 weeks from then, maybe completely different 2 weeks from now. So, well, this day trading advice brought to you by Lady P and Breaksec. So there you go. Every, invest something investing in the market has risks. Make sure that you know what you're doing before you, settle up in the blockchain or something. I don't know, something like that. So, but yeah, this directory traversal stuff, it's just like, why no fix? Took them 15 years to fix a vulnerability in Python. Just kind of, just one of those things people don't think about doing, I guess. But yeah. So let me see. Did they actually fix it finally? So Trellix researcher Casimir Schultz rediscovered the bug. It's funny. They're getting YouTube hits on stuff that is out there and was found, but they're haven't fixed it again. Leaping has reached out to the Python Software Foundation for comment about 2007 4559, but has not received an answer. The problem is, how do you get people to fix that? Are you going to have them fix tar file? Because as far as I know, you can import tar file from a local copy, from a GitHub copy. I think there's multiple ways of doing this, and if you're not using the exact correct one, some of these may never get patched. How many of these packages are deprecated or deprecated or no longer being maintained, or worse, people who maybe forked it with the idea that they were going to make improvements and actually made it worse. As an example, let's say you work in Java and you need some crypto libraries for Java, maybe in the ed 25519 category. So you Google and, oh, look, here's an implementation of ed DSA for Java. Cool. Great. This is all good. Except, they make the disclaimer here that there are no guarantees, that this is secure for all cases, and users should review the code themselves before depending on it. PRs that fix bugs are very welcome. This is what the last release was in May of 2018. The reason this pops up in Google, and I'm telling you this because this may have been used by some friends of mine, or had found this and have found vulnerabilities or issues with this implementation. And much like your tar file in Python, this is being used in applications for crypto. There are other copies or other versions of this that you can find, the ed 25519 for Java, but Google does not mention them first because Google's not smart. It doesn't realize that there may be vulnerabilities in this version versus, let's say, the Bouncy Castle version, which is another implementation of this. This actually is just the API spec, but there is a Bouncy Castle version. But if you're a developer and you're looking for ed 25519 and the first thing that pops up is the Strahd version of the implementation, you're like, score, I found code. I'm going to use this code. I'm going to import this library in. Problem solved? First fix is to document not using untrustworthy tar files. Yes. CPO. I think the tar files is just to create the package, right? A lot of Python packages use tar because it's a nice container format, maybe. Lady P says it shouldn't be running with permissions. Don't run stuff as wheel. Yeah. 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 I mean, yeah. Also, take a look. Talk to your developers. This is a good reason why we need like an SBOM or something like that when you're building out applications to know that, hey, are you using a 4-year-old version of Java implementation for ed 25519 or what version are you using of it? Well, we're using a version that's from 2016. It's probably still okay, right? How many packages out there are forks of forks that are not getting the upstream patches? Or etsy_password should have wheel red permissions. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is correct. Okay, that was just Discord. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have the ability to overwrite a file. I think Lady P, the error message for that was Python is going to untar the file as root, so root's going to have full access permissions anyway. So I'm not sure why they would be running a Python script as well. I know why they would run it as root, because they want it to install regardless of, they don't want to have any problems. But yeah, that can definitely cause issues running anything as root and unpacking things as root. So that makes a lot of sense. I saw this. I'm not too sure about what this is about. They say it's called Wolfie. It's a stripped down Linux OS distribution designed to improve the security of soft supply chain. I'm all for exactly, Lady P. Trust strikes again. I love I love a nice simple Linux. Back in my day, I was using Linux. It would, it would fit on a, it would fit on a CD, and now it won't. And Alpine's still fairly not bloated. I would say that's probably one of the few that are actively maintained and is not completely bloated, unlike most Linuxes nowadays. So this one is, according to software supply chain firm, Wolfie delivers build time, software builds materials for all packages, has a declarative and reproducible build system, and uses the APK package format. So APK is Alpine Linux. There's a couple of others that used APK, I think, as well. With Wolfie, packages are granular and independent, offering support for minimal images. So it's yet another new, that's what I read earlier. Python dev didn't fix any code, just documented not to trust tar files. God. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that CPO. So wow, yeah, that's yeah, that's not helpful. So it does a join of file names, which can lead to traversal errors and therefore overwrite files. Yeah. Yeah. So it says the new Linux distro now powers all chain guard images. I don't know what that is. A set of signed minimal dependencies meant to significantly reduce attack surface, simplifying auditing and updating images are rebuilt daily to make sure they have the latest patches. Oh, good. They're calling it the undistro. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this and new supply chain security risks have led to the following issues with running containers. Container images tend to lag behind upstream updates, resulting in users running images with known vulnerabilities. Common distros used in container images also lag behind upstream versions, resulting in users installing packages manually or outside of package managers. Right. Yeah, there's a lot of issues. Many container images have no provenance information, making it difficult to verify where they came from or if someone has tampered with them. Oh, okay. Copy. So I guess the idea of the Wolfie is to make sure your container images are a bit more accountable, or there's more accounting of what is going into your container specific distros. So there you go. Wolfie provides a high quality build time SBOM. Packages are designed to be granular and independent to support minimal images. APK package formats, that's Alpine package system. Fully declarative and reproducible build systems and designed to support glibc and Musel. Okay. Good stuff. So yeah, if you have a chance to poke around through Strahd's version of 25519, there may be some things in there. Yeah, just feel free to poke around if you like. Just know that I don't know when the last time he had any kind of fixes in here, so there's a signature value might be a bit off. Non-standard algorithm names, signatures are malleable. Simple Diffie-Hellman computation fails. Let's see what else. Null pointer exception in the invert field element. So yeah, there's a few things that might give you pause there. So, and you'd be surprised what kind of stuff uses a Java implementation of 25519. So, not saying, I'm just saying. So, they went on vacation, but the SocVel stuff came out. So I haven't yet run through it, and I'm a little afraid to because I haven't been up on my news this week. But if you want to follow along, you can. I was going to run through this real quick. There we go. So number 1, Mandiant uncovered North Korean attackers running spearphishing attacks. Maybe we need an OS permission that is above root. Well, you know, Trusted Solaris had tons of above roots. If I remember correctly, black. What was it? Black root. There was a root that was black. Trusted Solaris labels. Yeah, trusted. When I used it way back in the day, there was different labels for. Let's see, where is it? Labels. Ugh, I can't look at anything that says Oracle on it. Anyway, they had like green root, red root. There was a black root, which I think was like God root kind of thing. You could run something as green root or red root or white root. I think white was like different levels and different users and different colors meant different things, and you could do different things. You could get as granular as you wanted to, but I don't know if that's still a thing, but yeah, I mean, need an OS permission that is above root. Well, don't we have that in Windows? That's what the service accounts are, or the, um, what do they call that? You get NT system. So that's like, yeah, NT system. And, we can still access that, right? People gain access to NT system all the time. Yeah, I would, whatever you do with root, it would be like you can't run, it would have, I don't know how you would do that though. It would be like having something above root, but then you couldn't do things like execute or my worry there, Lady P, and back to my seeming that nothing really matters. Nothing really matters. Is that users are going to use, right? So, oh, Triplexity. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Triplexity. Triplexity, did you get your thing, your thing in the mail? Just let me know if you did or didn't. Oh, good. Excellent. Thank you, Triplexity. I'm glad you were able to enjoy that. When I went to mail it, I didn't want to put Triplexity because I'd already told Digital Warhead that I'd put his name, Digital Warhead, as the person receiving the device. But I was like, just put current resident, and the lady's like, what? And I was like, just put current resident. So that's what I did. So CPO says part of SE Linux is to lock out or restrict root. There, yes. I want to say App Armor does something similar. The problem again with SE Linux is it takes people to understand it and use it. It's not an easy thing to do. A user or a developer is not going to implement SE Linux. It's going to be them being reminded that they don't have the proper security configurations in place and to implement SE Linux. And unless your organization has builds already set up for that, getting it done correctly, getting it done reproducibly is going to be, the bigger issues, with process maturity in this case. Level 3 would be easily reproducible, written down, and, it's followed. It's a process that's followed and it's established. So, Mandiant covered North Korean attackers running spear phishing attacks. A Trojanized version of which software was used to drop malware on targeted user systems. Oh, I think we talked about this. This was PuTTY. Yes, I did. We did talk about the malicious PuTTY. That is correct. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, malicious PuTTY. Yeah, this is the article we used too. So that was good. Yay! I got one. We'll see what happens. I do actually have to kick off here in about half an hour, so I have to take my daughter to a football game because it's Friday night lights in high school here in the U.S. So, Abnormal Intelligence detailed how schools were being targeted with business email compromise attacks, which specific form of BEC attacks were used. Payroll is what I'm remembering here. Yes, I think I had read something about this one happening too. Threat group Chifton Herring? What the hell is this? What's a chiffon herring? A chiffon herring? Chiffon herring? Chiffon. I said chiffon. Don't judge me harshly. Chiffon herring. What is a chiffon herring? It's the worst thing ever. I do apologize, for my pronunciation. If whatever. So they identified a specific group bucking this trend called chiffon herring. Yeah, okay. It feels like a dartboard name anyway. They're notably unique that they almost exclusively target local school districts and universities. General structure of an attack is similar to many other payroll diversion attacks. However, instead of personating executives, They pose as a non-executive employee like a teacher and professor and sends the attacks to the department head. Huh. Because their names and email addresses are publicly listed on most school websites, these individuals are incredibly easy to impersonate and target. Yep. Yep. Initial email indicates impersonated has changed banks and needs to update their direct deposit info. Email also mentions a previous account will be inactive in a few days before next payday and are injecting some urgency into the request. Oh, interesting. So instead of do this now, it's like, well, I've got a couple days before payday or whatever. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Well, you can go and continue reading that. It looks like it's a fairly large deal there. So, and they got some IOCs in there from different mailing accounts, but that's all garbage. A lot of Gmail and mail.com accounts. So, okay, and that was the putty one. All right, next. ESET reported on the Linux sidewalk backdoor. Oh no. Which APT group uses this backdoor as part of their arsenal of implants? Oh man. The only two I know about are WinNTI and I don't know Stardust Kalima, but I want to say WinNTI because it's the only one I know. Nope. Sparkling Goblin. Okay. Okay. For the love of it. Yeah, Lady P. Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know why they call it a chiffon herring, but yeah. You would think there'd be some kind of method to their madness, but yeah. Don't you want a Stardust Kalima there, Lady P? That's funny. God. Overlap with APT 41 and barium. So Sparking Goblin is a APT group. Overlaps with APT 41 and barium. It uses Mott, Nug, and Cha-Cha 20 based loaders. That's an encryption type, I thought, or yeah. Crosswalk and sidewalk backdoors, along with Core Plug and Cobalt Strike. Yay, Cobalt Strike, the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, something like that. Well, Lady P, if you have, missions or something that you're working on, or, Operation Rainbow Delta or something like that, Oh, damn it. There we go. Yeah. They made those because those were cool back in the day, right? And you can't call everything APT something, so they have to give them cool names or call them something that sound. It's not even evil sounding, like pandas, and nobody thinks pandas are evil. That's my issue with calling things pandas. Goblins, etc. So ESET's got a nice write-up here with CNC overlap, got some reverse engineering on the stagers. Speaking of malware analysis, on the 30th, I did confirm with CyberSec Diva at CyberSec Diva, and we're going to... there we go. We are going to have our class starting again on the 30th. So if you're getting into malware analysis, go back. The video should be on our YouTube channel. We're going to be doing some malware analysis, real malware. I believe we'll do session 2 of that. Session 1 was pretty much set up, and here's what you need to do to download and get your lab ready. So CyberSec Diva's on vacation right now, but she will be joining me on the 30th, I think. 30th, which is a Friday. Oh. Huh. Okay. So like next Friday, we'll be doing the class. So we'll be sitting down and hashing it out and talking about TTPs and malware analysis. So that class will end, I believe, before the end of October. it's a good time. So Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I don't know what we're going to be making people aware of in Cybersecurity Awareness Month, but I'm sure we'll have enough things that we can try to scare people with to make it work. So, all right, next we'll go to number 4. Okay, next. Proofpoint covered social engineering attacks by TA453. Which technique did they deploy in order to aid in duping targets? Looped the loop, stolen profiles, waterhole attacks, or multi-persona impersonation. Well, there's a puppet in the background, so that doesn't help me on that. But stolen profiles? No. Oh, multiple. Okay. Sometimes it's like FOMO. Capitalize on FOMO. Really? Look what you made me do. Okay, so doink doink doink. Social engineering, which threat actor uses 2 actor-controlled personas on a single email thread to convince targets of the legitimacy of the campaign. Oh, I see. I see. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Very interesting. Continually innovating its approach in a quest to fulfill its intelligence priorities in late 2022 resulted in campaigns utilizing what Proofpoint informally calls multi-persona impersonation. So 3 different accounts. Hey, I'm so happy to see this. This was so awesome. Click here for that. And then you have 2 other people go, wow, that was great. I'm glad I clicked on that. And then it's like you get a 4th person in who's the rube, and they click on it because the 2 other legitimate users clicked on it. So there you go. Well, that's pretty good. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't have to be smart. It just needs to work. And a FOMO thing, it's definitely something you'd want to worry about. If anything, let your people know at work that FOMO things are, if you don't know the 3 people in the call or in the text message or message group or whatever, don't click on it. I guess the same thing could happen in large Telegram groups as well, or large WhatsApp groups, or you get a bunch of people that don't actually know one another. Hey, this was awesome. Click on this. Okay. Next, the NSA in the U.S. as if we didn't know. I forget, the person who writes these are not in the U.S. So the NSA published a security advisory warning that attackers are exploiting known vulnerabilities to extort U.S. critical infrastructure organizations. You can tell he's not in the U.S. or they're not in the U.S. because that should be a Z for us Americans. Which country are these attackers believed to be? Okay, obviously we know it's not Wakanda. China, Russia, or Iran. I'm going to say Iran. Yes. I mean, we hit Iran's critical infrastructure, or we being, U.S. or in this case, Israel, they hit there. So it seemed for me, that was my thinking along the lines of that to get that. Here we go. Yeah, so Cyber Command and known vulnerabilities protecting unprotected networks to extort and ransom victims. Agencies from 4 nations provide IRGC affiliated cyber actors exploiting Fortinet, Exchange, and Log4j vulnerabilities. It's still a thing, y'all. Still a thing. The advisory release is part of the U.S. government's effort to eradicate this malicious activity and hold IGRB affiliated actors responsible. Yeah, okay. That's never going to happen. The malicious actors are targeting a broad range of victims. So unless we're biding our time, where some of the Iranian people end up going to, say, Thailand or someplace like that on vacation and get picked up by Interpol, yeah, they're going to be charged in absentia, and they won't come to justice for a few years. There's that. Okay. Next. Security researchers recently discovered a vulnerability in the MS Teams desktop app, allowing access to what? I know this one. I want to say it's authentication tokens. Yeah. Yes, it was found. The Teams stores auth tokens as clear text in Windows, Mac, and Unix and Linux. So, security analysts found a vulnerability in the desktop app, gaining access to auth tokens and accounts with MFA turned on. Is a communication? Yes, I know. Problem details. So it's an Electron app, which means it comes with all the ugliness of, of that. So. Electron does not support encryption, right? So it's basically like a container that holds a web app or a web page or something in this case, um, and there are no protected file locations. So if you can gain access to the Electron app, you have all the secrets, all the OAuth tokens, all of that. So Vector analyzed Teams while trying to find a way to remove deactivated accounts from the apps and found an IDB or an LDB file with access tokens and clear text. Upon review, it was determined these access tokens were active and not an accidental dump of a previous error. These access tokens gave us access to Outlook and Skype APIs. My guess is that because these are tokens, these are authentication tokens post 2FA, the system would just recognize that these tokens are good and you could get around MFA. Could be wrong here, but that was my understanding. Yeah, that using this type of malware, threat actors will be able to steal authentication tokens and remotely log in as a user, bypassing MFA and gaining full access to the account. So this is all post MFA. You've already done the hard work of clicking on the button inside your phone or code or whatever, and this basically says, "Yeah, I've been authenticated. Let me in." And Microsoft doesn't look or invalidate those or check to make sure that those aren't coming from a different box or anything like that or geographic location. So you get let in. So there you go. Fun, happy times. Now, to be fair, it's not just Microsoft Teams that would have this issue. Anything that runs an Electron app that might hold secrets might also do that. I don't know if Visual Studio Code is an Electron app, but you might get tokens for GitHub or your Azure DevOps or other tokens there. Anything that's an Electron app, you might want to take a look at and poke at. So once you know how bad an Electron app is, you can do a threat model on, hey, if a dev wants to go, hey, I want to do an Electron app. Well, okay, great. Here are the threats that you need to worry about. You don't need to know how the app works. You just need to know the technology underlying it, and you can make educated guesses. Like, for instance, we want to use Oracle for the database. Well, just, throw that app into the sun because it's going to be a hot mess anyway. So, yeah, there you go. For those that can't move to a different solution, creating a monitoring rule to discover processes accessing the following directories. So they say these are the directories in Linux, Mac, and OS and Windows that you can. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I didn't want to. I was just guessing that VS Code was an Electron app. I didn't want to. I know. Atom.io, which is deprecated now. I mean, it's on its way to deprecation as an Electron app. But I wasn't sure if VS Code was or not. But thank you, CPO, for confirming that my mental comment there. So yeah, I mean, if you've got tokens inside of your VS Code for logging into GitHub or whatever, because you've created those trust relationships inside your Electron app, right? So unless you're making it ask you for the password every time you hit publish, the token sent, the trust relationship has been created. It doesn't know any different, right? So there you go. Okay, so on 9/14, which is, this was a few days ago, they did take a day off. So they did take the week off, the SocVel folks. So this might be old news, but the technique described does not meet our bar for immediate servicing as it requires an attacker to first gain access to the target network. That is true. That is true. A lot of what we tend to report on sometimes does require things like physical access to the network, or physical access to a device, or to be able to. There's some preparation steps, before you can, oh my God, get OAuth tokens or whatever. Sometimes it's as simple as somebody clicks on an email attachment or something like that, sadly. But it does require. Yeah. Well, obviously Uber didn't, their Lady B, Lady P. Otherwise, they would have. That would have been a problem, or that wouldn't have been a problem for the 17-year-old teapot hacker. But yeah, yeah. All right. So that's in the chat. All right. Number 7. According to Group IB 1B, they need a better font. I think it's Group IB. I could be wrong. Where did the Uber hackers likely obtain the initial credentials required for their attack? I believe they found them. Oh, an underground marketplace. See, it was my understanding the social engineering to the VPN, then the VPN to a network share where the PowerShell scripts had all the passwords and stuff. But okay, we're gonna get some new information here, so I'm gonna pop that up into the chat window here. There you go. A user nicknamed VX Underground posted screenshots to Twitter with evidence of access to internal systems, including Sentinel-1, Slack, AWS. And screenshots have been attributed to Teapots 2022, which we know, or we believe is a 17-year-old male in the Oxfordshire area. Hopefully they have some good information, and he had some really poor OPSEC, and he'll be getting it soon. So 2 zip files are archives with the same format, log ID-D7 with names 4952307 and 8675309. Oh, okay, there you go. Very nice. First name Jenny. The name format of these files allowed Group IB analysts to identify them as logs from stealers that were sold on one of the underground marketplaces. Group IB identified these logs were put up for sale on September 12th and 14th. Okay. Wow. So very fresh data. So somebody used those almost immediately after they may have gotten them from the underground forums. This shows that the attacker managed to gain access and develop their attack in a fairly short period of time. As shown, one of these logs contained authorization data for uber.onelogin.com, an identity and access management provider. And they were 2 employees from Indonesia and Brazil that were infected by the Stealer malware Raccoon and Vidar. Okay, so interesting write-up. I was not aware that the logins came from there. Everything that I had seen on Twitter and elsewhere said that they had socially engineered an IT person to get VPN credentials, and it was on a network share. So again, we're seeing more. Sorry for the double post. Yeah, so that's an interesting way. I think there'll be more coming out about this. I mean, obviously the Lapsus stuff, and then this. So generally, you need a password before you could force repeated 2FA requests. Well, yeah, no kidding. Yeah, Triplexity, you're absolutely right. The way I understood it though was if they had socially engineered their way in, and it was like, oh, I've locked myself out of my account, and I've lost my phone. The IT person would reset that person's account and send their password and potentially turn off their 2FA, right? So they may not need 2FA if they were able to socially engineer their way into a VPN account. So this is an interesting write-up. I wasn't aware that this was a thing. So if this is true, then that would make a lot of sense since the information was fresh. And then, at that point, they may have gotten into the network share that everybody had access to and found those PowerShell scripts. Hopefully, like I said, when we first talked about this, hopefully Uber will be open and honest about what happened and be able to give us an after-action report when they're done. May not happen, but we can always dream. Okay, number 8. According to CrowdStrike's annual threat hunting report, oh goody, which industry was most targeted by nation state actors? Nation state, that's the point though. I would say technology. Yeah, makes sense. Especially if you got pandas in the mix. Um, Pandas tend to go for IP. Russia's been, they're, um, yeah. So I mean, Russia's been attacking Ukraine, so it hasn't been technology companies per se, but yeah. So let's open this link. Oh my God, it's word soup. Here we go. There we go. Okay, 77,000 potential intrusions. Uh, Calculated the breakout time on average to move laterally to other hosts within the environment for e-crime adversaries has fallen to 1 hour and 24 minutes. Wow. Down from 1 hour and 38 minutes, as reported by Overwatch in the 2022 Global Threat Report. 1/3 of those e-crime intrusions, the adversary was able to move laterally in under 30 minutes. Oh, well, yeah, Triplexity. The the tooling has gotten better, the playbooks have gotten better. Um, you know the um, the e-crime is probably going to be what more people are going to be looking for, not necessarily IP related items. Adversaries are shifting away from malware, so malware free threat activities. What are they moving to if it's malware free? Is it ransomware? Are they not considering ransomware to be malware? Companies like Microsoft deny that lateral movement with their softwares are a problem. Fileless malware, could be. Well, they say they're shifting away from malware, so I'm not sure what a malware-free threat activity is. Um, yeah, malware-free activity, valid. Oh, they abuse valid credentials, facilitate access, and present persistence in environments. Eh. Another factor is the rate at which new vulnerabilities are being disclosed and the speed at which adversaries are able to operationalize exploits. I think we saw that, if not earlier this week, 2 days now to weaponize a vulnerability, depending on the type of vulnerability, down from about 51 days in 2021. So that makes sense. The faster you can move with an exploit, the more likely you are. Oh, technology was hit 19% versus telecoms at 10, manufacturing 7, academics and healthcare. Wait, 19 plus 10 is 29. 29 plus 21 is 30 and 20, 50%. So what's the other 50% at? No, I don't get it. Huh. Okay. Okay, so everything else must be of so low of the 14 or 15 different types of industries that the other 15 of those is that. So a third or a fifth of the attacks were technology. Um, yeah. And then, of course, they broke out the telecoms specifically into technology, government, academic, and media. Your grandma's recipe. Yeah. Well, to be fair, Triplexity attacks on Siemens and Schneider Electric is not hard, as we've talked about on the show before. Ripple 20, I think, was one of the big ones that we talked about with Schneider Electric and those. It's not hard to hit those orgs. So um, I think if it was more worth their while, they'd be hitting ICS all the time. So yeah, 30-year-old unpatched OS, or TCP stacks that haven't been updated in years and are out of support, because somebody thinks that it's cool to do so. Go check out that article though, and maybe check out that report. They may ask you to sign up for some. Okay, let's download the report. Let's see what they want. Oh, are they going to give me the PDF without registering? Oh, fuckers. Um, Yeah, just throw off some stuff in there, Bob, 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 Bob at Bob.com. If they're smart, they'll send it to Bob at Bob.com. I feel bad for Bob.com because he's a dickbag. President 000, company name Nunya Biz, and country North Korea. Let's just put North Korea. I want to put North Korea. Oh, North Korea is not on there. I'll be from Norfolk Island today. Norfolk Island. Ha! Okay, so copy link. Here, I'll save you all the sign up thing. There's the direct PDF link. That was just pretty much grab some shit for sales. But there's the link. If you want to grab that threat hunting report without having to be called by salesperson or to waste your time on that. And don't get me wrong, I love the CrowdStrike folks, but goddamn, having worked there, they're not as rabid as Rapid7, but they're trying to make a sale. I get it. It's fine, but there's no reason they should be harvesting that shit. So, number 9, what is the attack called where agents are irritated or tricked into approving fraudulent MFA requests? Okay, we know this one is MFA fatigue because that's the new hotness. That's the new hot term now. New hot term for those things. Again, okay, so I know Lady P has had this, has talked about us with this, but I don't get MFA fatigue. I don't have my device constantly rattling off a hey, Okta is trying to push something to you. Okta is trying to push something to you. Even when I worked at companies that had a dedicated 2FA, I never got that. I didn't, and maybe I'm just either I'm doing stuff that precludes them from doing that, like okay, Triplexity, what does that look like? And so that would mean with MFA fatigue, I'm just a security person, I don't know. Okay, so Triplexity, let me ask that question. This means that at some point, could not use their phone without authing it. Okay, that makes sense. And I've got to go here in about 5 minutes. I would take my daughter somewhere. But that would mean that there's already a problem with the system if somebody is getting enough of those where it's like, just leave me alone and whatever. That means that there's a problem with how the MFA system works. Either that's a systemic issue where it's like, oh, this is the 3rd time this week where I've been hit with that. Yes, I state that there should be some kind of way to detect this easily, or some rate limiting or something like that where you can't, I'm assuming the MFA fatigue is like, oh, you're being sent those like 8-9 times a second or in a minute or something. The push system should be in place where it says, okay, we're not going to send you another one for a couple of minutes, or there should be some logic in place where, right, you should not be getting a dozen of these things at one time or something like that. But my problem is has it become so normalized for 2FA systems that, this happens a lot and it's like, oh, well, that's just the normal thing. Yeah, Okta always sends me like 15 or 20 of these things in a day. Every time I refresh my screen or something like that, I get an Okta push or whatever. If that is the way they're set up, then that is a problem that should have been fixed, you would have thought, back, when this was new technology. Lady P says once every 30 or 40 minutes at 4 a.m. is worse than continuous, just long enough to fall back to sleep. Yeah, it doesn't happen a lot yet based on numbers anecdotally. I imagine the system will mitigate it before it becomes a serious problem. I hope so, Triplexity. I hope that Okta and Duo and the others, the YubiKeys of the world are, because I like Risky Business, the podcast, but Patrick going, well, that's the reason why everybody needs to go to YubiKeys. No, it's not. Because I know me. If I was forced to use a YubiKey, I'd lose this shit, and then I'd be completely effed. You know, I don't look forward to having to drive down to corporate office or find a way for somebody to overnight mail me a new YubiKey because I have lost it somewhere. Yeah, let's all go to YubiKeys. Yeah, that's just something I can lose. Oh, you put it on your keyring. I don't have keys. I don't carry keys anymore. I unlock my car with my phone. It is my key. I have a ton of 2FA apps on. Um, you know, I don't put work stuff on my phone, which may be the other reason why I don't get a ton of Octa pushes or Duo pushes or what have you. But I've got one or two factors on here. That's um, some of those are duplicates. I could probably go in and click those out, but yeah, there could be recovery keys. My GitHub has some recovery keys. I have a 35 character password. If contact support and tell them you left it at home, they'll give you a code. You need to call us each time. That's good, Lady Pete. That'd be great. Uh, at some point there needs to be like a BYO YubiKey or something. That's what I've done. I mean, like I've mentioned this before, but this is my login for my work laptop. If I lose it, I don't know what my password for my work laptop is, and somebody would have to reset it for me. The company wants you to use a secure password, but I don't want to have to remember a password. So if I'm ever interrogated by somebody who wants to take my laptop for evil purposes, I wouldn't be able to tell them what my password is. So, I just think that this MFA fatigue stuff isn't. I don't want to say it's an easy fix. It is fixable. It is addressable to not make this. I mean, we've just gotten to the point where companies are like, yeah, we need MFA. And now it's like, oh, MFA's busted. We're going to go to something else. It's like we're not allowing businesses to catch up with the technology. It's like, oh, you need a firewall on your network. All right, we got firewalls. Great. Oh, yeah, we're done with that. We're going to go over here to passwords, get more complex passwords. Okay, we've got, 8 characters, upper, lower number, special. No. Now you need MFA. It's like, we're not faster. We're just, the attackers are, getting in the way. So the MFA thing, I'm hoping is an easy fix. Triplexity, you're absolutely right. Hopefully it's an easy fix. But yeah, it's just one of those things. So, all right, let me finish up with number 10 here. And then I definitely have to go. Which threat actor has been named responsible for recent Uber attack? Okay, Lapsus. That was an easy one. I actually did pretty good this week. Security update written by the Uber team. Oh, okay. Well, no, you son of a bitch. There we go. All right, so there's a bit of a write-up from the Uber team as of September 19th. I will have to go back and read that one later. Yeah. So they're saying an Uber external contractor had their account compromised by an attacker. They're not. So that would be either the Brazil or the Indonesian worker, according to the earlier articles that we read. Likely, the attacker purchased the Uber's corporate password on the dark web after the contractor's personal device was infected with malware, exposing those credentials. All right, so that fits the narrative. All right, so there's a third-party contractor. Password was leaked to the dark web via some scraper on their device, and then gained access. Each time the contractor received a two-factor login approval request, initially blocked access. However, the contractor eventually accepted one. Great. I wouldn't call this MFA fatigue then. It would be just like ignorance. If the contractor had, contractors worse than users. So anyway, so that's a good write up. Looks like it's fairly good. They're saying, where do we go from here? Who's responsible? So they mentioned Lapsus. What was the impact? Several internal systems. So yeah, go read through that. I'm gonna go. I actually did create a final scene. So for those of you who are on, let's see. I want to say, let's see who's online. Dunk, 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 dunk. Oh, Taggart's on. Let's go raid Taggart. There we go. Good dude. All right. We're gonna go and visit Taggart and hang out. Why'd the contractor have access to those privileged power shells? That's a good question there, Lady P. Hope everybody, I hope we get some information about that, Lady P, and why those contractors had that. That may be just a work for that. So, all right, let's go raid Taggart. Y'all have a good weekend, and we'll be back here on Tuesday. So talk to y'all soon.